Welcome, welcome. Sorry, my iPad was actually over on the console, so I couldn't hit in my macros because I wanted you guys to see that in the entrance reel. Well, welcome to the live stream tonight. My name is Keith, and I hope that you can hear me okay. It looks like we're streaming. We've got recording happening. We have good speed. I didn't do this at Hyperdeck High. I'm live streaming at streaming high, which is really important. The lighting is a touch bit different tonight. Let me double check this real quick. There we go. I don't have a lot of lights on behind me because I don't want glare on the studio live console. So keep that in mind. My dog's going crazy. My wife is out of birth, so we may get some barking because she doesn't know who I'm talking to, so she's going to freak out for a few minutes. But I want to just say hi. I think we have chat working tonight, which is great. So let me just double check to see if I've got all my mice working here. Okay. So let's go over here and see what's happening in the chat and say hi here. See chat on the air. So there you go. Jay said hi earlier. I don't know if he's back in the chat. Hank is here from Bluffton, South Carolina. And he says a big hello, said hi to Jay. Ernesto is here. Thank you for joining me. And thank you for the happy Tuesday sentiments. It will be a happy once I get through the live stream. That's a big focus for me on Tuesdays. Then I get live and get done with the live. I feel pretty accomplished, so thank you for that. Let's see here. I think that's it. Grish is in the chat. Thank you for joining me. I don't think I've had Grish in the chat before. We'd love to know where you're from. If you can put that in the chat, if you're open to that, that's great. And maybe some of the rest of you, besides Hank, might say hello to Grish and maybe give him, once he tells us where he's at, you guys go ahead and tell him where you're from. It's good to have you tonight on the stream, Joe. I appreciate you very much. I was telling a few weeks ago, I had one of my clients, Jenna, in the chat as well as in the Zoom post show, which I do a Zoom quarterly gathering, FYI everyone. So U-Step Production is here as well. I'll finish my thought here. It says he can only stop in for a few minutes, but thank you. Appreciate it, Austin. Thank you. I did have a great time yesterday. Got a chance to spend some time with my wife. We went to the park and got to chill by the waterfront. That was really cool. David is getting told on here by Joe. So again, thank you so much for joining me. We're going to focus tonight on two things. I will continue to say hi to everybody. I'll finish my thought here in a second, but let me just tell you where we're headed. We are going to look at Universol Control. It's the remote wireless app for the Studio Live consoles. I'm semi-familiar with the Studio Live consoles. I had a recording studio a number of years back. I used a 24-channel PreSonus board back then. Lots changed since then. That's been 2000. I think 2009 I bought that console, used it for about 4 or 5 years, then donated it to a local youth ministry, youth church. Because it was at that point, I didn't need it anymore. I closed down my studio, and so I donated it. Haven't had a Studio Live console since then, but I have done a few of the updates in the software, Studio One. So by PreSonus, and it's a great software. Hopefully they'll come out. The 6.5 version is out. Hopefully they're going to come out with a 7.0. I have version 5. I do not have 6 or 6.5. And I'm kind of holding out because it's like $150 to update. And so I figure I'll update to 6.5 and then they'll come out with 7. So I've been holding off. I've had the console now for a little over 8 months, I think. And I'm still learning it. I've got it set up again in my garage, even though I did bring it in today. I used it on Saturday night. I hosted an event, and I used my console, 2 of my monitors, and then 3 of their speakers, just plugged into channel 2 on their Yamahas and ran from down front. I hosted for a friend of mine who took his whole team out of town for a Memorial Weekend retreat, and he asked me to MC his event. So I did. They had a music guest, they had a speaker, and I just ran the sound and opened the building. And anyway, it was quite fun. Got a chance to use the Studio Live console again. So we're going to talk about Universol Control, which again is the wireless app that you can use on your iPad. I had it open during the intro video. I'm going to open it up here in a little bit, and we're going to talk about that. And then also, we're going to do an unboxing. When I decided to turn this room into a studio, it was a man cave, and I had a PC. My PC's still in here. I had the PC turned sideways in a movable rack case, and then I had my Xbox in there. I had a wireless mouse, a wireless keyboard, and a lapped board that I could just sit. I had a lift chair, sofa over, and a lift chair recliner over here, leather, and one for my father-in-law, one for me, and then one that didn't lift, that just reclined. And so we had this nice man cave. I could sit the chair up in more of a lift type situation, and I could use the lap pad on my lap, and which was great. Or I could bring a sofa table in and use it as my desk, and I could use this big monitor over my shoulder as my PC monitor. I could do mastering there, mixing. I did some voice work in here, so it was quite fun. But I decided to transfer this into a production studio and a set and be able to live stream from in here. So a lot changed in the studio at that time. And when that happened, I bought a laptop, and it's my Asus that I have right here. It's a ZenBook, and it has a Thunderbolt 3 port. And if you know anything about ports in PCs and Macintoshes, they've changed over the years, just like the iPhones and other Android phones. So they'd have different ways of charging, different type ports. But things have gotten faster over the years. You had USB-A, and then USB-A got different versions of it. Then eventually you had the 3.0 ports with the blue interior on a lot of the cords, and they got faster and faster. Then there was different type ports prior to Thunderbolt. Now there's Thunderbolt 4. But when I bought my laptop, it had a Thunderbolt 3 port, and I bought a Thunderbolt hub. It cost me almost $300. And it's this one right here. I've never talked about it on my channel, but it's by OWC. And this is a Thunderbolt 3 port. This is not my original one. It's on my desk, and it's been giving me issues for about the last year. So I've been concerned that either my Thunderbolt dock, again, this is a dock, and we'll talk about this. We're going to unbox it tonight. And it sits on my desk. It's plugged into my laptop. And so I didn't know if it was the dock or my laptop. So because I didn't know which one, I did the math. It's a lot cheaper to buy a new dock and test it. And so I'm planning on unboxing this tonight, and then I will plug it in tomorrow. It's the identical one that I bought before, so I was really excited to find this. I think, well, let me look on, no, I can't look on my phone. I have it as a camera behind me. But I believe it was like $139 instead of almost $300 now. And I'll see if I can still find the Amazon link, and I'll put this in the description later. So if you're watching this and you weren't with me live, that link should probably be in the description below. I'll also put some links to the console that I have, the PreSonus Studio Live 32. I had a lot of other things going on today, so I don't have any links in the description. So we're just going to roll with it tonight. But we are going to talk about the Universol Control wireless app. I'll talk about how I'm going to use it remotely when I'm on location. Also going to talk about how you can use it inside your house on your wireless. And then we're also going to unbox this tonight and talk about the ports that this Thunderbolt 3 dock has, and why I bought this particular one, and the fact that I'm using every single port on it, except for a couple audio ports on here. So we'll talk about that. So I want to get an exact duplicate. And so I can replace the power supply, replace the dock. And then if the other one, if this does the same thing, then I know I have two good docks, and one of these will be able to stay in with me in Studio B, which is now my garage. And so, again, it was something I was going to get anyway because I want the same ability to bring my laptop in this studio or in Studio B once I get it built. But I can already go in and do stuff in there because it's my garage, and that's where I'm setting the sound system up. So, okay, so we'll just set this down for a minute, and we'll say hello. Let me do this first. We'll switch to this camera, and I will turn the lights back on just for a second here. There we go. And let's switch to camera one. So I have the desk set up, and some of you asked me to talk about what I'm going to put in the rack. So I'll talk about the rack tonight, talk about the board. I bought the iPad stand. The bigger boards have one built into the front of it, built right into it. But this 32 console, which is rack mountable, does not. So I bought the little stand there for my iPad. And then I have my wireless Sennheiser right there. I have my stage box. And then I also have an extra camera here when I turn around and work on the desk. So just wanted you to see I have that all set up. So we're going to spend a majority of our time tonight talking about the Studio Live console combined with the Universal control on the iPad. And then they also have a phone app for you. So you can download the phone app, and then you could use that for your particular in-ear mix, or you could actually adjust your stage monitor. I do not have any ear mixes yet. I do plan on buying at least one of the ear mixes that PreSonus sells. And again, that's a 16-channel digital stage box, not digital stage box, but a digital mixing console for one person to mix whatever they want in their in-ear monitors or their stage monitor. And right now I have 3 monitors, 1 sub, 2 15-inch speakers, and I unboxed, well, I didn't unbox it, but I had the sub and one of my speakers in the studio a few weeks ago, so you can go back and watch that live video. And so I did show the unboxing of that from my garage. It was a video, but that's also in that live stream a few weeks back. And so I'm continuing to expand my mobile sound kit. I have sound in the studio through my Rodecaster Pro 2. I have sound that's going to be going into my Studio B. So I will be using my PreSonus in Studio B, as well as another Rodecaster Pro in there. So it's going to have 2 audio interfaces. And I'm going to plan on doing some recording again. So some guitars, some keyboards, some vocals inside Studio B. So I'm still in the stages of planning for that and seeing where that money is going to come from. But I'm already kind of accumulating some of the resources that I'm going to need over time, because it's easier to pay for things over time than all at once. So let me set this down. Let's finish saying hi to everybody. So 2 things. One, we're going to go into the Universal control on the iPad and talk about that and look at that integration with the Studio Live 32 SC console. We're going to talk about my donated travel case right there and what I have in it, and the stage box that's in there, and what else might go in there right now, because I do have a 1U grid in there, have a power supply. So we're going to talk about that, and we're going to unbox the Thunderbolt 3 docking station, or what do they call it? Yeah, dock, designed by OWC, and that should be fun as well. And then I will hook it up tomorrow. So let's turn, let's see, let's say hi here. It looks like Chio is in the house. Welcome, sir. Thank you for joining us. Says, just stop by to drop since I do not have time to watch the stream. Cool, Chio. Well, if you watch this later, thank you for dropping in and hitting the like button. I appreciate that. I had pluggable that just got out, went out, let's see, gave out, 6 months ago. It was a paperweight, $200. Yeah, they're not cheap. Again, welcome, Ernesto, my favorite tech. Thank you for joining us tonight. I recently had my 15-year-old son replaced my motherboard. That's a Z790 Rogue that has multiple Thunderbolt Type-C. For my laptop, I have an M1, which is working great for my use as 1 year. Yeah, and those are great resources. And I know I never finished my story. Remind me what my story was. Old age. I was telling a story about Jenna, I think. Can't remember. It's old age. I'm sorry. I can go back and watch the video later. So, Joe, yeah, if you can give me a little tidbit of what I was talking about, I would appreciate it. Thanks for dropping in, Doug. I appreciate it all the time when you come in. And thank you for saying hi in the chat. So go over and check out some of these channels that are in here tonight. And yeah, something about telling her about, oh, yeah. Thank you, Joe. So I had a consult today with Jenna. She was in my live stream a few weeks ago in the chat. And then she also was in my Zoom gathering. We do a quarterly Zoom gathering, so you guys can get together with me in a Zoom. It's not live. We do it right after the live stream. We shorten up the length of the live stream, and then we can all pop in and get a chance to chat. And I wanted Jenna to come in. She works in New York. She's working for an attorney. She shared her story. I can't share that with you. I'll have to have her on the live stream in the future, and we've already talked about that. But I was telling her today that we were talking about going live on YouTube because she's started a YouTube channel. And we were talking about monetizing it, how you can make money on your YouTube channel. And we were talking about how people could sponsor. You could pay for YouTube ads. You can get paid once you can monetize your channel from ads on your videos. And I do have monetization turned on tonight. I also have, you can make money through Super Chat, which is, if you don't know what Super Chat is, a lot of people have no clue what Super Chat is if they're new to YouTube, but it's just a way for you to pay back whoever's doing the live stream in the chat below. And so you could actually do a Super Chat, pay a little bit of money, whatever you decide to do. And then my responsibility would be to respond to that, highlight that, even if I was in the middle of a demo. So when I see that, I should respond. It even has a timer that you can see. The more money you spend, the more time you get to be on the screen with your timer. And again, it's just another way to earn money on your channel. You could have sponsors. You could sell your own products. But I was telling her, Joe, and the rest of you guys that are listening tonight, that occasionally now that I've been on the channel, I've exchanged gifts to other people that have been in the chat. And one of the things that Joe did a while back is he closed down an old channel that he had on YouTube. It wasn't old at the time. It's old now because it's been a while. And he boxed up a bunch of stuff and then just let me know that he was sending me a box in the mail. So I was telling Jenna today that I have literally 3 7-inch monitors in my studio that are up. One I'm looking at right now above my main camera, which is really camera 2. I have another one underneath my prompter right here, which is my camera 3. And I also call it the Quick Tech Solution Tony Cam. So we'll switch to that real quick here. That is this lighting. So let me just hit the, so there you go. So I can look down here into a 7-inch monitor. I have the chat on the screen so I could read the chat right now and look right into the camera on my Elgato prompter. And I've done unboxings and stuff here on the channel. A couple dives into it live. Not a lot of regular videos on my channel, but live videos are available. So I have different lighting for the different cameras. And then I have a monitor on each one. And right now over camera 1, is a monitor. I wave my hand here. So right above it. So if I was sitting behind that table over there, I could look at that monitor as well. So we'll cut back here to my main camera and back to the main lighting. So I have a Stream Deck. I can change lighting. I'm using 3 Elgato lights. These 2 right here, one right here is a key light by Elgato. Over camera 1 is a key light by Elgato, and then I have a key light Air over what I lovingly call the Tony Quick Tech Solutions camera. And again, this is not a sponsored video, but it's just one of those funny things I get to do. So I can change my lighting by having quick keys on my Stream Deck, which is really great to have. So, okay, well, I've been telling stories for too long. So let's dive right in right now. I think that's everybody in the chat. Let me just look at all of the chats. Yeah. And so I think I've done all of this. So yeah, if you would hit the like, I would appreciate it. We seem to have less and less people as we get closer to summer in the live streams. So if you like these videos, live streams don't have the best algorithm on YouTube. So if you hit the like button or share these videos, I would really appreciate it. I appreciate that very much. Okay. So let's go ahead and start with the unboxing. So let's get this out. And I'm just going to unbox this right here on this camera. I could cut to this other view. Let's see if I like it. If I can find my, I called it Studio Live. Did I not? Okay. What happened here? Let me go back to this here. And let me just cut to this camera right here. And we'll turn around. We'll set that right there. We're going to unbox it right there in a second. Let me turn my logo on the air here. I had a macro for this, but I'm missing it. And let's go to a wider shot here on my Skycam. Not that one, not that one, not that one. I guess this is as wide as I have right now. Let's just go ahead and use this. This is a good view. So you guys should be hearing me and you should now be seeing me. How is this camera? Yeah, I'm gonna lean in here so it should be good. So should have this on the air, we do. So that's the front of the box. So you can see it's a Thunderbolt 3 dock. I wish I had a better monitor of this. I can see it right there. It's a Thunderbolt 3 dock, has a micro SD card, and then it has a headphone output. Next to that is a 3.2 generation 1 USB-A port. Then you have a 3.2 generation 2 USB-C port, and that's depicted on the front of the box. So you can see kind of description here, but it is a Thunderbolt 3. Thunderbolt 4 is out, but I don't have a Thunderbolt 4 port on my computer. And then OSC is the brand, and that's nice and bright and blue right there. I like their color scheme. And then more information on the bottom of the box. Thunderbolt 3, connect, work, disconnect, go. With a single connection, the Thunderbolt 3 dock makes working from your desk and disconnecting your notebook or laptop or whatever you have for a meeting much quicker. And that's the goal, going from Studio A to Studio B and taking my laptop on the road. And then all kinds of information on this side. The dimensions, 9.1 inches width. Height is 1 inch high. Depth is 3.5 inches, and you got 23 centimeters width, 2.5 centimeters height, and 9.0 centimeters in depth. And then the weight is 1.2 pounds or 0.5 kilograms. And then you can see all the ports that it offers right here. And I'll just kind of scan that. It's semi-focusing on that. And then the bottom is just more information with the barcode and OWC 8 Galaxy Way, Woodstock, Illinois. That's where they're located. And just some basic information, their website, OWCdigital.com, so you can check them out. And so then that's the front. And then the back, you kind of have a layout of all the different connections. So you have the connections we talked about on the front, then you got the connections on the back. 1, 2, 3, 4 USB 3.2 ports. Then you have a spiff diff, which is basically like digital audio, like fiber. Then you have the 1G Ethernet port. Then you have a Lightning connection back here, a Thunderbolt 3 connection back here. So basically you can come into it from your laptop right here, and it has a cable inside if I remember right. And then you can come out of it again and go to another monitor, or you could go to a backup system, all of that stuff, whatever you want to do. I have a lightning port going into the back of my BenQ monitor, so that's where that port goes. My laptop plugs in right there. Then you have a DisplayPort. It can do up to 4K 60 hertz. So that's available right there. I'm using that port as well to go to the monitor that's behind me in the studio. And then this is the power supply, and it's 85 watts. The downside of this, I didn't know this when I first bought it, I would be able to charge my laptop via this port when I plug into it if this was 90 watts, but I can't. This is only 85 watts, and I'm just trying to replace my existing one. I may update to one of these that has 90 watts one day, but I don't know. Probably not, so, because my laptop's going to eventually die. So let's unbox this and check it out. So turn this around, and I'll set this down. You guys can see it. So here's the paperwork. It's got information on the front and back. You take a look at that. It tells you what each one of the ports are, their capabilities, and the front, the ports on the front, and information about operating systems, Windows or Mac. Mac 10.12 or higher, Windows 10 or later. And then again, OWC Thunderbolt 3 dock, power supply and cable not pictured. Thunderbolt, this is what's in the package. So you do have Thunderbolt 3 cable, not pictured. And again, details of everything on the back, so we'll set that aside, and then we'll pull it out. So it's not that big, you can see, compared to my hand. We'll set this aside and get out the power supply. So underneath here, you have the power supply right here, and it's a big power supply. So I'm gonna pull this out and get a chance to see. This is a big brick, and all the details on the back, and got a decent sized cord. And then I'll set this aside. Obviously you've got the power port in the back, and this is the kind of a 3-prong import and 3-prong with a ground cable. We'll hook this up in a minute. Also in here is the Thunderbolt cable, not super long. Again, they're only supplying you one to be able to plug your laptop in. I'm using the current one now, going into my laptop, and it actually is branded by OWC, and it tells you it's a 100-watt, 40 gigabyte cable. So this cable is rated to transfer 40 gigabytes of information. Super important that you use a Thunderbolt 3 certified cable to work with whatever you're using a Thunderbolt dock for. So we'll throw that back in there, and now I'm going to peel the paper off of here. We'll pull this out. And so there you go. You got the little sticky paper on it. Comes off somehow, if I can find it. Oh, well, I'll just go through it. So here's the front, or the back. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, USB 3.2, it says right on here, 3.1, generation 1, spiff diff, and then you have 1G Ethernet, then you have the Thunderbolt port, your laptop, Thunderbolt in 3, Thunderbolt 3 out, DisplayPort, and then your power supply. And then if you turn it around, you have headphones, you have another 3.1 generation 1, 3.1 USB-C generation 2, SD card, and micro SD card. And again, it has Thunderbolt 3 dock on the front, black on the top, and then that's the bottom, and then you can see the sides. So this is going to replace the one on my desk. And just so you guys can see that it actually exists, I'm going to steal my portable camera here real quick, and I'll show you guys the dock on my desk. Let's cut to camera 4. So there is my current dock, and you can see that I have my prompter plugged into the front right now, even though everything's reversed. Sorry about that. My camera is, let me change this around here real quick. Okay, now let's go like this. Okay, so there you go. So I've got my, what do I got in the way here? This whole thing is blocked now. So let me pull it out of here. There we go. So there it is. And you can see I got the back filled up. Even had a SD card extra reader on top of it from my PC. So this goes to my laptop, and I had a card Velcroed on it one time. It went to my PC, but I rarely use my PC to edit video now. So it's full. And so I have every port except for the spiff diff being used right now. So it is full. And again, it's been sitting there for over 3 years. And so it is obviously showing some signs of wear. And so I will be replacing that shortly because it needs to be replaced. So let me put this camera back because we're going to be using this camera when I go back over to the table. Okay. What did I do here? Perfect. Change this back into selfie mode. So now I have two, and you can see it's nice size. It's got some plastic on it, and got the protection on the bottom, which I just need to have some fingernails to peel it off. I like peeling these off, so I was going to try to do it on camera, but it is so well sized. I can't get it to release here. Almost. Oh, well, I'll get that later, but that is the Thunderbolt Dock by OWC. And again, 85 watts of power. So if you had a laptop that only needed 85 watts or less, you'd be able to power it from this. So again, you could just plug in one Thunderbolt 3 cable, and then your laptop would be powered, which is great to have this as a dock in your desk. I'm mainly using it to send all the things into my laptop and out of my laptop for all the monitors and all the things I'm doing in the studio. Like my prompter is plugged into it. So again, it's nice to have these faster ports on the front so I can plug my prompter in. I've done Sky cameras right here or Insta360 cameras because I have two of those. I'm using one right here tonight for the PreSonus. So again, great tool. So we're going to get the box down, get all this stuff out of our way. We will take this apart here real quick and show you the length of the power cable. So it's pretty long. It's definitely fingertip to fingertip, almost can't reach, so pretty big there. Then that plugs in right on the bottom of the power supply. And then this side has a nice little Velcro adapter, and usually this sits down in a basket underneath my desk, so it'll replace the old one, because I'm going to replace the other dock and the power supply and everything, and I'll see if I'm having some of the other issues. What are the issues? It'd be like if I turn my BenQ monitor off, it starts just disconnecting and connecting, disconnecting and connecting. So, and I'll sometimes have an SD drive connected to it, in and out of the ports on my BenQ monitor or on the front, and it's just been giving me fits. Sometimes it won't even read the SD cards. So my feeling is I'm losing I'm just losing it. It's dying. So for $139. Hopefully that fixes my problems in the studio. And if it does, then I know the other one is time to throw it away. And I'll test the power supply and keep it as a backup. But again, a lot of money is invested to power supplies and these docks. And originally it was over $300 to buy that for my studio. I think it was like $299 plus tax and shipping. So I'm glad I only had to pay $139 this time. So that's the Thunderbolt dock. You need those if you're going to try to use those Thunderbolt ports on your Macs or your PCs, whatever you have, your laptops, and just have one docking station. And I usually have a smaller one I travel with, but I'll also be using that with my laptop when I go to live concert venues or I'm doing live streaming. I have one of those docks that I use because I only need a couple USB things when I'm doing those events. So I have a port in my laptop that I can plug in my ATEM Mini Pro to. I can use that dongle to create a little mini network. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that tonight. So that's a look at the Thunderbolt dock. If you have any questions about it, let's just look here in the chat. So let me turn chat back on over here in my OBS. And let's go chat on the air. And good to have you, Tony. I'm glad you showed up tonight, listening in the car. Cool, way to go on his way home from work. Let's see. Glenn B, hello, watching from Las Vegas. I like your channel. Are you a boom operator as well as a camera op? Well, when you say boom, are you talking about audio boom? I'm assuming you're talking about using condenser microphones and doing audio. I've never been a professional boom operator, but I've actually done studio recording. I've also done video production. I've used boom poles to get audio. I've done some professional shoots with for television in the past. I've done voiceover work for radio. I have a great face for radio, and it's a lot of fun, but I've never been a professional boom pole operator, if that's what you're asking me, or a boom camera operator. So maybe that's what you do, or you might be involved in that industry. I'd love to hear about it. So I'm using a Cal Digital TS4. Again, that would be probably a Thunderbolt 4 dock. Had several docks and they were all terrible. Never tried OWC. Yeah, I did reviews, Joe, on YouTube before I ever bought that one, and everybody seemed to rant and rave about OWC. So I pulled the trigger, paid a little bit more for it. I just like to buy things that are going to last. It's been in my studio now for over 5 years. I've had my laptop for, I think, 5 years. Actually, I think I had my laptop for longer than I've had my PC. So my laptop is a i9. It's got 32 gigs of RAM. It's got a 2060 NVIDIA card built into it, and 1 terabyte of SSD drive. And then I use a lot of the little portable SSD drives for all of my clients. And the laptop's invaluable to me because I use it for my Zoom consulting. And so this is kind of my setup right here with my my prompter and one of the donated monitors from Joe Torelli. And so I love to have that set up so I can just pop up into Zoom. And then I have the ability to show all these different angles in my studio on Zoom as well. So, okay, I want to get into our main topic tonight, and that is universal control. Tony says he's heard great things as well about OWC, which is good to know. So if there's no questions about the Thunderbolt port, let's rock and roll into tonight's main topic. I am going to be continuing to do some audio stuff on my channel. I do recommend going over and watching a video. Let's see. Yeah, audio boom. There's also jib operators. Yeah. So audio boom, jib operating is the right language. So thank you for clarifying that, Glenn. I appreciate it. I just want to look on here real quick because I'm going to promote a channel right now, not mine. I'm not being paid to do this, but I think this is appropriate. So let me go into YouTube here. Please stand by. I'm not even using this mic, so let me put it out of my way. I'm using my wireless Go, and I think I want to move this up just a little bit. Hopefully it won't get too hot. Looking at the audio right here, I'll turn it down just a little bit. Okay, so let me find this video that popped up, I think yesterday, maybe over the weekend. Where is it? Please stand by. Okay, let me just pop this up on the screen. Do camera 3 in my laptop. So this is the Curtis Judd video. I found it quite fascinating. That's what I'm going to talk about for a minute. He is talking about his channel, and he does a lot of audio stuff on his channel. I want to do some audio on my channel. But what he discovered when he did not do any free gear for 10 weeks. So he took no free gear. He gets a lot of free gear, and then he unboxes it, does video reviews on it. And that's how a lot of YouTubers gain gear. They don't have Joe to send it to you. But again, these are actually manufacturers, and they want him to do these videos. So he didn't do any sponsored videos for 10 weeks. And he did some diagnostics on his channel. He watched the algorithms. He did buy a couple items out of his own money. One was a new Zoom recorder. And so he talks about it in the video. But I highly recommend, I'm going to go ahead and place this link in the description tonight. After we get off the air, I'll give you an excuse to come back. But yeah, so I would highly recommend you watch that video. It's a very good video on his channel and audio. And the reason I brought this up is because I started thinking about, should I do audio on my channel or not do audio? I don't want to be known as an audio channel. I want this channel to be mainly about live streaming tech. So hold on one second. Something fell down in the other room. I was just checking on my family. So anyway, the channel, the whole idea of that is to make sure that you guys know that I'm going to do some audio occasionally. I do want to talk about Studio B, and I'm doing some remote live streams and some remote audio events, and that's why we're doing this. But I'm going to really still continue to focus on live streaming tech, and all those, obviously audio is a part of live streaming. So I use, again, Mix Effects already on my iPad, and so we're going to switch over. What I'll do is, this is the app that we're going to talk about, and Let's go back to just this camera view here. So we are going to be using, this is MixFX, and we are going to be using this when I do live sound. I like it because I can walk around and run the sound for my Studio Live console. So we're going to move over to the desk and fire up the Skycam, and we're going to talk a little bit how this integrates. So let me do that real quick. We'll go back to camera 2, and let me make sure I've got box 2 with what I want in it here real quick. Perfect, and let's go to Super Source here and making a little adjustment. Okay. Check. Got good audio. Turn Skycam off the air here. Wait 1 second. Cool. So, let's see. I want this other camera. Let's change over to that camera. Sorry about this, guys. Camera 1. I want to have stream 2. There we go. And let's just make sure I'm in this shot. There we go. And I'd prefer that to be on the other side, so let me fix that real quick. There we go. That's laid out better. So the way this can work is this, I can just have this when I'm live up there when I'm not using it, and you guys got a pretty decent view. Let me turn these lights off. And I'm not exactly super bright, I apologize that, but I wanted you guys to see the board. So you have the LCD screen on the board, but now I have the ability to pick this up and go places. So if I just bring this in to full view here, I can go into the effects, that's the effects processors. I can go into the EQ. I can go into the different groups. I can go into different mixes. I have the ability to go into settings and go into just the fat channel. And again, the fat channel is all the effects on each individual channel. I can turn the gate on and off. I can turn the compressor on and off. I can turn the EQ on and off. I can run the EQ with my fingers. So it's very quick. So moving around the venue and making all these adjustments on the compressor on and off. I can do the high pass filter, the limiter right here, and then you have the wireless preamp input. So this is channel 1. You can see a 1 right here. And then here's the slider for running channel 1. And you can actually, if I go to a different view right here, let me see if I have it. Yeah. So I'm going to run that fader up and down again. And you can see it's going up and down on the board. Actually, I'm on channel 2 now. I can go back to other channels. You can see the channels I was using the other night. I had wireless lapel 1, wireless lapel 2, guitar, vocal 2, drums, all lined up. And then the wireless mic is right there. That's channel 1. And you can see that that fader is going up and down. So I have complete control, could turn the EQ on and off, and can get back into mixer view. So now I have a mixer view here, and then I could go back and forth through all of the faders. And so I can switch where this is at. Here's all my auxes. So I could go into my auxiliaries and make adjustments right here. And so everything that I can do on the console is available right here. I could even do routing for my network. So I can route what channels are going to my NSB 16.8, and that is my stage snake that's right here off camera. So I have the ability to do all these things with this US control app, and it's amazing all the things that they've done. I can set up my users. If I had plugins on my laptop, I could add in my plugins. I could do all the digital patching. So you can see some of these mixes right now, 9 through 16, are going to my stage box. I could change those back to analog if I wanted to. So I just changed 9 to analog. So again, I could adjust all of these on the fly. I got input patching. This would be for recording directly to my my laptop. I got AV control, and that's the patching of all the AV. That's the networking going on. USB if I wanted to record to my SD card. Here's the information for my SD, the channels that are assigned to it, how they're assigned. And so all of this, USB sends, AVB sends, analog sends, input patching, and then I have all of these settings that are available to me as well. I can assign different things that people can have access to right here. I have the frequency, 48 hertz, internal clock. I have USB compatibility, 64 channels. I could actually do 64 channels of recording on the USB from this. The interface mode, global mute link, and then so I could set up the global mutes, allow remote access. That would be giving people access to their in-ear mixes and rear access to my console. And then I have the appearance, so I can change the channel ID icon, all of that stuff over here, go to different dark modes. So just about every single thing that you can do on the main console, you can do on this. So I'm in channel 1 right now on the main console. And let me change this view so you guys can watch this. So that's channel 1. That's the EQ. So let's go back into mixer settings. And let's go into the EQ off. Let's go to channel 1 and equalizer. Let's turn this. So you can see I'm actually moving it. Let's get this on camera right here. It's going to get on camera. Which way? Right here. I'm actually moving it with my finger, and it's adjusting on the board at the same time. Now, again, that may not seem super crucial to you, but to be mobile, I can set my board now anywhere. I could even set it on the stage, and then I could go out in the audience and mix, or I could have it in the front of the house, back of the house, side of the house. So whatever kind of setup I'm at, I now have the ability to still go out and use my ears and make all the adjustments. And so even on Saturday night, I was sitting over by one of the main speakers and the sub, and I had the sub plugged into auxiliary 6 because it was coming from the board. I had 1 through 6 available from the board, and then the other auxiliaries available from the stage box, and I didn't want to change the routing, so I just plugged it into 6 so I could bring the sub up and down through that auxiliary, and I could assign whatever I wanted to the subwoofer. And then I had the right and left channel coming right from my board, so I could bring the right and left up right from the board. So let's go back to this wide view. So having this able to just sit right there and grab it, I'm going to actually have it set up so that I can do some charging. So I'll have plugged into my console on my desk. I'll have charging going to the iPad. I'll also have charging going to my phone so I can play music to my phone. So I have USB-C, Lightning, or just a regular headphone jack. So I have this plugged into my tape input all the time so I can play music from my iPhone. And I also have the wireless microphone right here. Batteries are almost dead, but I just had it on tonight so I could turn the volume on. And now you can see signal going into the board, and you can also see signal going into the EQ on the desk. So there you go. You have signal coming up right there, so I could bring the volume up. I have no speakers in the studio right now. So, and actually it's showing auxiliaries right now. While the channel's muted. So now I did notice if I raise the faders on the board, they're not raising it on the software. Let's just see here. So I'm in the wrong setting here. So, excuse me. Let me set this mic back down. Get out of compressor view, go back into mixer view. I'm just rebooting real quickly here. I don't know if it locked up or what, but yeah, it was not running the fader on my console, but now it is running the fader on the board. Get you guys a better view of that. So again, now it is running the fader up and down on the board. And it should do the same thing if I run the board up and down. It should run the pad up and down. It is. So it did suddenly lock up. So that's something to keep your eye on. And but I love the fact that you have universal control, and it is available free as a download. And again, you can do all kinds of things with it. You want to have a reliable network. And so we're going to talk about that next, and just talk about how I will set up a network at each location, and talk about how that's going to work. So let's cut back to the main camera. Just a little bit behind tonight because of not having access to Mix Effects, because I'm using the Universal Control app. So let me switch back over to Mix Effects so I can run my live stream and talk a little bit about wireless networks on location, because I think it's an important topic that I just want to touch on tonight. I went out and bought a wireless router modem for making a wireless network. I may buy a bonding device. I haven't decided yet exactly how I'm going to do that. I'm not doing any live streams from location yet, but I want to set that up. That's the next step. After I get all my sound equipment built, then I'm going to have a little portable kit to go do some live streaming. I could tether from my phone, but that's not going to be necessary, wireless reliability. But all you need is a wireless modem and a switch to set up a network anywhere you want. You just make it private. So I have one. It's called Life Journey Productions. So when I go in a location, I open up my rack and I have my little modem there. I plug my laptop into it. I plug it into the Studio Live 32 SC console. I can attach to that wireless network with my iPad. I can also give in-ear mixes to each of the talent. So let's steal my phone back over here. And we'll open up that app here real quick. Let me see if I can find it here in the app. I have too many apps on my phone. Still looking, sorry. There it is. It is called QMix, and I'm going to tap on it, and it's going to open up. And so QMix sees the console right now, and I can click on the console, and then now I have the ability to assign a mix to one of the talent on the stage. They could use their iPhone or Android device, and they then could make settings on their own channels for their own monitors. And again, I love that you can integrate the app. So they would attach to the same network inside that venue. It's going to be a private network that only they can attach to. It's not going to probably have any internet at the beginning, because I'm not needing to have any internet. We'll just have a wireless network that they can connect to. It's semi-reliable. If I get the little ear mixes, they're connected through the network of the PreSonus Studio Live console network off the console itself. And so it's more reliable to have those Q mixes on the stage than to be using a wireless app. But if you're just trying to get your settings at the beginning of a concert, making some changes between sets, this should be adequate enough. And I obviously have control of all the aux mixes as well, so they could just ask me to make changes. But if they're having trouble hearing one instrument in the middle of a song, that's when these come real handy, so they could make little adjustments in the middle of a song, because it's really hard to communicate with me on the other side of the room, even though I have talk back and all that stuff, and I can communicate directly to them only through their headphones or through their monitor. But I'm using monitors, so I definitely don't want to be talking to anybody on the stage while we're doing a live set. In-ears is a whole nother story. I could talk privately to the bass player if he was using in-ears by just going into the talkback setting and assigning it only to his aux. So I love the app. I love mix effects on the iPad. I also love Universal Control on the iPad. And then I'm loving the fact that you also have the ability to do this mixing inside the apps. So again, that is called QMix-UC, Universal Control. So it's QMix for Universal Control. And then the app from PreSonus is called Universal Control. And I will be putting those links in the description tonight. So let me go back into here. And get back into my macros. Cool. And let's get back into the chat and see what you guys are asking or talking about here in the chat. So chat on the air. Okay, lots to catch up with here. Joe likes the shot with the soundboard behind me. Cool. It's right over my shoulder. I like that shot too. Glenn, funny, I watched him too. He is who I was thinking about. He is kind of a I-Man show. Very detailed. Yeah, I like Curtis Judd as well. He's great. Jay, good to have you in the chat. If you're still here, I say hello back. Craig, good to have you. It says, hi, interesting topic tonight. Thank you for the overview tour. Well, just really want to talk about Universal Control, Studio Live 32 console. I really do like the PreSonus consoles. I'm using Yamaha speakers, so I'm not using PreSonus speakers, but they're pretty decent as well. I just really like the Yamahas, and it's cool to know that you have these digital consoles with wireless control and also apps for your smartphone, so you can do stage mixes for your in-ear monitors or for your stage monitor if you have one specifically assigned to you. So, okay, also curious how you sync timecode video and audio over HDMI with your Canon cameras. I see a lot of Blackmagic converters and SDI here in town. Okay, so my audio, I have lip sync set up in, let's do this. Change 2 screens here. So here's my control software for my Extreme ISO by Blackmagic Design. It's an ATEM Mini Extreme ISO, so it records every single HDMI input. The Extreme that doesn't say ISO records only your program out. Mine records program as well as input 1 through 8. Also keeps a record of the stills if you set it for ISO recording. So again, you're asking about the audio syncing. If you go down to the lower section here, you have a switcher panel, a media panel, and media is where you put all your still images. You can see my logo there in the background I'm using right now. So both of these are live. I have the background behind me, so Media Player 2 is live because I'm in SuperSource, and I have my logo right below me, and it's live as well. And you can see that the logo's live in Key 1, and then if you go over to SuperSource, my background is Media Player 2, and it's displaying in the back of SuperSource, and I have window 1 and 2 enabled by the check marks you can see. Check mark there, check mark there. Laptop's assigned to input or box 2, and my EOS R, which is this camera right here, is assigned to this box that I'm in. If you look at box 3 and 4, because there's 4 boxes available, 3 is turned off. If I flip it on right now, you can see it pop on in the background because these are layered. So 1 is on top, 2 is behind 1, 3 is behind 1 and 2. And then if I go to box 4 and turn it on, you can see it's just a big dark blob back there, and it's covering my background. So it's a full screen input, and right now it's assigned to Extreme number 2, and I'm not broadcasting anything right now from my PC. So if I change that to camera, let's go camera 1, turn it back on the air here. You'll see it pop up in the background now. And so I can have 4 boxes on at the same time. I can size that box. So also down here, we'll turn that back off, is the audio panel. And the audio panel, you can see that I'm running audio into mic input 1. And right up here, I have 4 frames of delay. Actually, I have, 4. You can do up to 8 frame delay. So my audio gets to the ATEM faster than the video gets from the camera. So we're slowing the audio down so it gets there 4 or 5 frames later, and that should get my lips in sync. And I think they're pretty in sync tonight because I have 5 frames of delay set. Now, sometimes on my confidence monitors, my lips aren't in sync, but the most important thing is, are you hearing the audio when I clap, my hands come together? And that's how you can just record a quick video on your ATEM and see if your lips are in sync, or clap your hands like they would if they're doing a take, doing a production, so they can get audio and video synced up later, because they're usually remotely recording audio in a device, like Sound Devices device with a boom pole operator. So that is how I am syncing up the audio, because my Rodecaster Pro is not connected, or I'm not sending microphones through the USB or the HDMI channel from my ESR. I have no audio coming from my cameras. You can see that by this section right here. All of these channels are not sending audio. They're all off right now. And you're only seeing audio come in through mic input 1. And then that's the stereo mix of whatever would be coming from these channels. So if I turn my my HyperDeck on right now and hit play. See, do I have a video ready to play here? Yep. So you can see hear audio now, because I had audio video set on. So audio's off, audio's on, so you can do it either way. But we're not playing my intro video right now, but I wanted you to see audio on the other channels. So you can enable a microphone on your EOS R or your Sony or camera, and then run it right down the HDMI input, and that will sync your lips up. But I have a separate audio interface, and I have to adjust the audio from the Rodecaster Pro to be in sync with the video from my EOS R. And that's true with every camera angle. Every camera angle could make a little bit of difference, but seems to be in sync when I'm using camera 3 or camera 1, as well as camera 2 when I'm live streaming. Let's turn my logo back on the air, and we'll move this back over. So I hope that addresses your question about how I'm syncing up audio. So that's a good shot with the mixer on one side and the multi-view on the other side. Thank you. On remote live stream gigs, how are you streaming out to the internet? Are you relying on venues' internet connections, or are you bringing your own cellular? And if so, okay, that's a great question. So I haven't set that up yet. Joe actually can distribute a bonding device. So Joe, go ahead and put, if you're still on, put the name of that bonding device in there. So Joe's now affiliated and able to provide a really cool bonding device. And all you got to do is just pay for a monthly subscription, I think, or how often you use it after you have the device. And then you can bond different cellular signals in. But right now, I'm not doing any live streaming remote events. I'm building towards that, Tony. But I will definitely have some kind of bonding device. I can plug into their internet there if they have really good internet. I could also go from my phone if I wanted to, because you can switch that inside the control software and hook a USB-C cable directly to my phone. I would have to have a different phone than this because mine's Lightning. But again, then you could use your phone as your internet access. You could also buy just a single device, which I've used before for off-site sales when I was in the RV business. So we would buy a single cellular device, but that's mainly just for computer accessing and printing and downloading files and communicating back to the main store. It's not like trying to send video over it. So I recommend, as well as most of you probably would, some kind of bonding device. And what is that? It puts, like, you could have T-Mobile, Verizon, all combined. So whichever signal was the best, all of them combined, you would have a good, reliable signal. And you can also plug into local internet in the building you're at. So you'd have their internet, you would have your cell towers, and all of that is moderated by some of these companies that sell these bonding devices. And you would just charge your user, whoever you're doing the live stream for, an extra fee for live streaming. Part of that fee would go to you, and part of that would go to whatever it would cost you for that day to use your device or pay for time and uploads and all of that as well. We paid a monthly fee when we were offsite, and then we would shut it off. So we're only doing offsite sales 3 or 4 times a year. So for 8 or 9 days, 10 days, we're paying for that mobile hotspot. And I used a Cradle Point in my last sale. That's a brand, so you can go check out Cradle Point. But Joe also has a device as well. Thanks for joining us, Akil from Germany and Europe. Thank you for joining me, David from down under in Australia. Sorry he's late. I get it. I'll catch up beginning later. So we covered, let's change this light here. We covered the USB, the Universal Control software by PreSonus for the Studio Live 32 SC console and the other consoles. I talked a little bit about the QMix app on my iPhone, and I showed how your faders, your flying faders on your Studio Live consoles go up and down with the remote app. I use my iPad for mix effects every week, so it's a little hard to run my live stream without this. I rely very much on this app. Those are all my macros, but I can also pop over now and open up Universal Control. So we talked about this, and it's going to find my device, and then I click on my console, and it's linked up now. And now I have the ability to walk around a venue or even my house and control the audio. So if I was in this studio and wanted to walk into Studio B, I could switch cameras to Studio B and then adjust the audio, unmute it as I was walking back there, or have a separate lapel. And I love the idea that I'll be able to do that. Also be able to mix audio. I'll be able to record bands, record events live. I'll be able to mix it later, do sound checks using previous recordings inside my Studio Live 32 SE console. So great device. We also unboxed earlier a brand new Thunderbolt 3 dock by OWC. This is the one I use now, and it's dying, so I replaced it with a brand new one. I spent almost, I think, $300 last time. This is only $135 this time. So we talked about this. Thunderbolt's very fast. You can run a lot of devices off Thunderbolt. So you want to invest in a good docking station if you just want to have your laptop be able to plug and play and go. Takes one Thunderbolt cable from your laptop into this, and then you can plug all your peripherals and leave them there plugged in all the time. Grab your laptop and go, and have another one of these at another location or another studio. So the idea is I can just plug into one in this studio with my laptop, or if I'm going to do a live stream or production in Studio B, I would unplug my laptop and plug into another one of these in Studio B. So these docks are really good. Thunderbolt 4 is out now, so you can invest in a laptop or a PC or a Mac that has Thunderbolt 4 now, and that's even faster. Thunderbolt 3, I think, is, I said, 40 gigabytes back and forth, and Thunderbolt 4 is even getting faster. And then a lot of these docks will have charging through the Thunderbolt port. So my laptop takes 90 watts, and the Thunderbolt port 3, I didn't realize this when I first bought the first one, it only had 85 watts, so I cannot charge my laptop from it. My laptop's plugged in my studio all the time. But if you're remote, get a dock that's got enough wattage of power to charge your laptop. Now, the reason mine uses 90 watts is it's got not just one monitor, it has a second monitor below. It's about that big and that tall. It's hard to see because it lays down with the keys. I rarely ever have that on unless I'm doing remote editing, and then I can drag my timeline down there and make my main picture that I'm editing from bigger. But I do have that ability, and it does have a higher end video card in it, bigger fans, and usually those laptops or gaming laptops will have bigger wattage power supplies, so keep that in mind. So I can't charge my laptop from it, and actually my battery right now on my laptop is done and dead. So I need to get it replaced. So, and I spent $3,000 on this laptop of my own money. So, okay. So that's all I had tonight, guys. Just talking about that. So let's do this. Let's get back into mix effects. So it takes a few seconds for mix effects to repopulate. There it is. So I have HyperDeck control, which I love that Mix Effects have. So I have my two HyperDecks are available right here. I could choose any one of the tracks that are on it, video tracks, and play those. I can go up to the switcher page or down a switcher page right here and change inputs. I can turn my keys on and off the air. I can get down in here into my macros. If I keep scrolling down, I can add more panels to this main switcher page. I can actually go to Super Source right here and control Super Source, set up a bunch of presets, and then they're actually animated in here, so they zoom in and zoom out. It's really cool. I rarely use this unless I need to change an input really quick. So you can see my 2-up design right there, the last one I used, and that's set up right now with Curtis Judd still in it. So if I cut over to that, there it is. But let's say I wanted to just go to camera 3. Let's go to camera 2. I can tap on it and it's animated. So there you go. But I do not have the other one programmed in here, so I've lost it for the rest of the night. But I could also animate going to camera 1. Is it still on? Yep. Could animate in and out of this camera. and I could open up more layouts as well. So I do love the fact that I can use my Mix Effects app even when I'm doing remote live streams. But I can't do SuperSource in an ATEM Mini Pro or Mini Pro ISO because it's not available in those devices. But you do have many devices now that have SuperSource built into them. So you have some rack-mounted devices. You have the Extreme and Extreme ISO and the SDI model that have SuperSource built into it. You have the new consoles that have SuperSource built in it. And now you have lots of rack-mounted controllers or switchers by Blackmagic Design that have SuperSource built in as well. And again, SuperSource just lets you put a image in the background or the foreground and 4 boxes open, one only if you want it, or all 4 open, and you can size them any size you want. There is limitations to SuperSource. You can't put a border around the boxes. You can't do a shadow behind the boxes, but there are a lot of things you could do with the graphic in front of them if you wanted to add titles and names and then put all the video behind that with transparency in all the boxes. Then you could do some amazing layouts for sporting events and things like that. So again, check out SuperSource in Blackmagic Design's main website and enjoy that. So I promoted Curtis Judd a little bit. I will put that link in the description tonight, but that's all I really had. I see David says, let me get back to my macros here. David says that OC is great. Notice that my logo's not on the air. So again, OWC is the dock that I purchased. I already own one. It seems to be failing. So I bought a new one to see if that's my problem. So I'll be installing that here in the studio tomorrow. I do want to eventually do some more things with the Studio Live board. And I'm still learning it. I'm still learning Universal Control. I'm learning how to do the Q-Mix. So I'm having a lot of fun messing around with that with the garage. I do have an open air tent event coming up at the end of June. So I've got a lot of work to do to get ready for that. And it'll be fun to get the board out again. Had it out Saturday, had it out about 4 weeks ago up in Soap Lake. And I'll have it out all week at that tent event right here in our local area. That'll be a lot of fun. And eventually I'll be hiring myself out more often to do some live streaming events. But right now I'm not ready for that yet. So, okay, so that's all I have. Any other questions before we roll out? And if you hadn't hit the like button, please do so. I would appreciate that. I think I've covered all the questions. It's good to have some of you guys pop in late tonight. I know we're going to be rolling out of here a little earlier than normal, but I pretty well covered everything I want to cover tonight. Next week, I'm going on a camping trip, but I will be back next Tuesday. There is one Tuesday I will not be live, and that's when I'm going to be at that open air event. I may pop on for a little remote from there if I have good cell service from my iPhone. And so stay tuned for that. That would be the week of the 26th, 27th, 28th, 29th, and 30th of June. So hopefully I'll be able to drop in that Tuesday night from that remote event. It doesn't start till Wednesday, so I may be in the studio that Tuesday, but there's also a chance that I may set up my sound equipment on Tuesday so that we can do some rehearsing on Wednesday night with the band. And then the event is starting on Wednesday night. So I don't know where I'm going to be in the studio or at that venue. So we'll see if I will be live one way or the other on Tuesday. I think that's going to be June, 23rd, 24th, 25th. So the 25th of June, I may be in the studio. I may be remote. We'll see how it goes. So, okay. Akil says, Keith, did I hear you? Let's see. Multi or MIDI is a modem, feature packed. Okay, I can check that out. Akil, have you ever gone onto my contact page and filled out my form so we could email back and forth? If you haven't done that, I'll put a link in my description. There should be one in my video last week. I don't spam you. You can get an invite to our quarterly Zoom gatherings if you'd like to join us. But I would love to get more information, email and back and forth. So if you just fill out that form real quick, put your name and email in there, then we can email back and forth. That link will be in the description after I get off the air tonight. So MIDI, MITTI. Yeah, so I have not done my Part 107 license. I'm not really getting any kind of invitations to do drone commercial work. So I only had one time when I was working for Forest River a year ago. The RV industry has really taken a dive nationwide. So they're not hiring guys like me to do consulting and video production like they were. So they were the only ones that were really wanting me to have a Part 107 license. I will eventually. It's a lot of study. I'm sure a lot of you guys have already taken it and you say it's easy peasy, but learning all that stuff for me is a slow process. And I really have been learning other stuff and focusing on other things. So not making excuses. I think eventually I am going to get my Part 107 license. My son-in-law, Joel, and I are taking our drones up with us camping this week. So I will have my drone there. But again, I don't put any of that footage on my channel because, again, I don't have my commercial license, so I can't use it on anything that's monetized. So I hope that answers your question. So thank you, Akil. I appreciate that. David says, I just got the Mini 4 Pro. Way cool. That is a sick-looking little drone. In fact, my son-in-law, Joel, was whining right away when it came out, going, I want to sell my Mini 3 Pro for a Mini 4. And obviously, you know, there's always a new iPhone. This is a 13. It's not a 14 or a 15. I have a Rodecaster Pro 2 on my desk. There's always a new version of my laptop. There's new things by Blackmagic Design. So we all have to make a decision if we're going to purchase those or not. But I do love the idea of the Mini 4 Pro. It is a pretty cool drone. David, do you have your Part 107 license? So you can sell commercial footage. And do you have to have a license like that in Australia? Let me know. So Tony wants to know if you're loving it and how is it. So go ahead before we get off the air and go ahead and roll that into the comments, David. I'd love to get your impressions so far on the 4. He says he loves it. So is there one major feature, David, that jumped out to you that made you excited about the 4? Over like the 3 or some of the other drones? Obviously, the other ones are more expensive. Okay. And obviously, David's saying you don't need it. Am I not popping chat on the air here? Sorry. So Tony was asking, are you loving it? David said he got the Mini 4 drone. Tony asked me if I have done anything with my Part 107. Akil said that he is going to fill out the form on my site. Again, Tony was asking that question, and David responded by, I love it. And I asked the question about the Part 107 in Australia. He says, no, I don't need it due to the weight. Now, in my drone, one of the batteries is overweight. I only have one that says it's under the gram weight that it needs to be. And then my other battery puts it overweight. And I do think in the United States, there's laws that force you to have a Part 107 license, regardless of the weight of the drone. But keep that in mind. You'll have to do your own study. I'm definitely not an expert on Part 107 or commercial selling drone footage. So take my words as a grain of salt. So yeah, David's saying he loves the video quality of 4K 60p. And my drone will only do 30. That's the Mini 3 Pro. And I think that the sensor and stuff is really nice. The video footage looks amazing. So I do think the overall video footage is amazing. I also got the new Pocket 4, which is a gimbal, portable little gimbal that you can record on and even get a DJI mic that that pops in with it, or you can use with it. It's got a receiver built into it. I don't think it's Bluetooth. Maybe it uses Bluetooth. Maybe it doesn't have a receiver built in it. I don't know that exactly. So I don't have any problems with the smaller drones in the wind, but there is less mass, so I'm sure wind has a greater influence on the smaller drones. I've never owned a bigger drone, but my son-in-law Joel did. His last drone, he crashed in the side of a mountain when we were out using it. It did not have obstacle avoidance, and that's the problem with not having that. The new Mini Pro has 4 has more obstacle avoidance built into it than the 3. So keep that in mind. We are talking drones right now. So David's still testing in the wind, and the Osmo Action 4, laugh out, not the Pocket. Yeah. So the Osmo Action 4, yeah. And that has a DJI mic lapel that you can get with it. Jenna, who I actually had in my Zoom gathering, has that same Osmo Action 4 and the little DJI mic. So cool, David. You should get those out and bust them out on your channel. I would love to see that video as well. So keep your eyes open. Hopefully David is going to go. He's got a great photography channel. Tony's got a great channel. Lots of you guys have a great channel. Hopefully you'll check them all out and subscribe to those people who are in the chat tonight that have their own YouTube channels. But can't wait to see what David will do with that in his on his YouTube channel. I'd love to see the video and your insights into that DJI Mini 4 Pro is the name of it. So, and David says, yes, he will. So, okay. Well, guys, I need to rock. I'm going to get out of here. Thank you so much for joining me in the live stream tonight. Again, if you haven't hit the like button, please do. If you're just listening in the background and you didn't chat with us, I do have subscriber only on. You can just simply subscribe. 1 minute later, you can chat with us when I'm live. So don't be afraid to jump on. Let us know where you're from. Join the conversation. Let other people see you in the chat and get acquainted. And then when we do our next quarterly Zoom, go ahead and join that quarterly Zoom and get a chance to see those people face to face, hear about their studios, hear about what's happening on their end. Right now, you're just a bunch of icons chatting, and I'm the only face on this. It's great to have those Zoom town halls so we can all chat together. And so hopefully you guys will join me for that. That'll be coming up in the late summer, early fall, because I just did one, or actually mid to late summer, I will be doing another Zoom gathering. So, okay, well, let me get my station going here again, pop my iPad back in here, and I will say goodnight. So thank you guys so much for joining me tonight's live stream. My name is Keith. This is Life Journey Production Studios, and I hope to see you guys here again in the upcoming videos. But until then, stay safe and go have fun with your gear and do something amazing while the summer's out here in the United States. And those of you that are in other countries, hope you have some good weather as well, and you'll enjoy this time of year using some of these great tools that we have, some photography, some drone flights, some remote live streams and things like that while it's beautiful out. And hopefully you guys have great weather where you're at. So again, have a great week, and I will see you refreshed after my camping trip next Tuesday. Until then, we'll see you later.